they were really good for really all 40 minutes. I know they sort of faded late. Northwestern made a little bit of a push, but Welsh Ryan and Northwestern as a whole have sort of been a house of horrors for Michigan State the last several years. Boo Boo especially, like they've picked them off a couple times at Welsh Ryan, and then even got them once in East Lansing, I believe, 2 years ago. That was a big part of them making their run and getting to the NCAA tournament. So the fact that they were able to be as dominant as they were was impressive. Michigan been dominant as a whole in Big Ten play, right? Really, with the exception of that Ohio State game. They've cruised in every ball game, and it's hard not to be impressed. Their balance, they have different guys that can step up on different nights. Fears is playing at a really high level now, but they just have different. They just keep coming at you, right? Their depth is such a strength because, I thought in the first half of this game, Northwestern was trying to battle and hang in and couldn't get anything going offensively. And here comes Fiddler with a couple buckets, and here's Jace Richardson, and Zapala got him early for a couple. Like, it's just different guys on different nights, and it doesn't. They don't egos. They just battle, man. This is an interesting Michigan State group.
And
yeah, I mean, in this game particularly, you have Martinelli and Barnheiser coming in as one of, if not the top scoring duos in the entire country. Martinelli got his. He had about 27. But Brooks Barnheiser went 2 for 13 and 0 for 6 from 3, and that's kind of what won Michigan State the game. Michigan State hasn't lost since Game 2 of Maui. Like, that is a long time ago. And they've done it defensively. They just wear teams down with their depth. They play 10 guys between 13 and 27 minutes, and they all know their role. Jaden Akins has done a great job becoming a leader of this team through example. The only double-figure score. But you're looking at a Northwestern team who moves to 1-4 after a decent start to the year. And we have that Big Ten tourney bubble watch. I'm going to bring it up every time I'm on here because I think it's hilarious, where the bottom three don't make the conference tournament. And they've got Maryland, Michigan, and Indiana and Illinois coming up. They go to Illinois, after, beating them earlier, and then that's their one win. Like, this team could be 0-5, which is insane. I think they have to split at very least coming up here. But this team is not going to win many games if both Martinelli and Barnheiser aren't showing up. It's got to be both of them. That's got to be a constant. And that just wasn't the case. A bunch of stars didn't show up today. So this was the case in this game where Barnheiser just – and I watched every single attempt he took. It wasn't just one person. Like, he had Fiddler on him. He had, Booker on him. He had Colin Carr on him, Trey Holloman on him, Jaden Akins on him. So many different bodies. And, Michigan State was throwing fresh legs at him constantly throughout the entire game, switching on him, going under ball screens, making them work. And that's how Michigan State pretty much kept this lead, comfortably in double digits throughout the entire game.
Yeah, so it's going to feel very weird for me to say this, as Joey Jennings just put in the chat. It's worrying that Michigan State can't shoot better from the arc than Ant Wright did when he was in college. They're still under 29% right now.
They shot open. They have open shots. I was being chased by pit bulls all the time. All the time.
Well, here's the thing about Michigan State right now, right, is if you kind of look at what Tom Izzo has always wanted that program to be, it's rebounding and it's getting out in transition, right? And then the rest of the stuff kind of figures it out. But if you end possessions, you get extra possessions, and you get easy buckets in transition, like that's kind of what makes Michigan State tick. And this year, they're top 25 in offensive rebounding percentage. They're top 25 in defensive rebounding percentage, and they're top 100 in average offensive possession length. Last year, they were in the 140s for both offensive and defensive rebounding percentage, and they were outside the top 200 in average offensive possession time. Like, they're Sweeney, they're able to get out and run. They're able to clean up the glass, and they have a point guard this year that doesn't just have the ball stick in his hands. As much as I love Tyson Walker, and as much as I watched AJ Hoggard, those guys, like, they weren't moving the ball. The thing wasn't swinging around. Like, Jeremy Fears gets it, and that ball's up the floor, right? Like, that thing is pinging around when he has the ball. And I think that this is much more of and throwing the fact, look, we made fun of their bigs. I made fun of their bigs. I made fun of what Izzo did in the transfer market. He's got bigs that just kind of do what he needs them to do, which is be big, be tough, be physical, and board. I think that this Michigan State team, they really haven't beaten anyone. They got North Carolina on a neutral. They won at Ohio State, which like whatever, they beat Colorado out in Maui, but I think they're real. Sweeney, am I wrong here? Like, are you with me? Can this team really go out there and I think not just a second weekend, but maybe deeper than that, the tournament?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Like, I'll present the pushback case, even though I think I agree with you more than I disagree with you. Can a team that is not a great 3-point shooting team, or really a bad 3-point shooting team, right? 29%, they don't take a lot of them. They took 8 threes today. Like, right? Like at the end of the day, like
bad
if you're a bad
way to
3-point
phrase
shooting
it,
team,
they're bad.
If you're a bad 3-point shooting team, and you don't play your players 30 plus minutes, like will Jace Richardson play 30 minutes in an NCAA tournament game? Because he needs to. Like if they're going to be a Final Four team, like, and I think they have the pieces, like I really do, but I think it involves more Jace. It involves fears being the fears we've seen the last couple weeks, right? This week, 18 assists. That's elite. Like when he plays like that, this team has a ceiling. When Jace Richardson's on the floor, this team has a ceiling, right? I think I'm not quite ready to hit as a Final Four team because I worry about the shooting, and I worry that it's just too many bodies and not enough room for the stars to shine. But man, this is an impressive group. They have really overachieved in my eyes from where I expected to be, and they have grown a ton in the last 2 months. Like they are a completely different team than we were watching them in the bye games in November, and that's a huge credit to Tom Izzo.
Mm-hmm. Ant?
No, I mean, I'm with you there. It is going to come down to, yes, letting the star shine, and I think that's got to be Jaden Akins and Jace Richardson. I think those two have got to be the guys. I think Jeremy Fears has done an amazing job this year in his redshirt freshman season in terms of controlling the pace of the game, and it's so different with him on the court. And they're bigs. I talked about it earlier today, where the big man room is the best that it's been. It's still not Xavier Tillman good, but it's still night and day from the last few years, where you can throw the ball in the post, and I don't think Michigan State fans are like covering their eyes, right? They're throwing the ball in the post, and they're like, okay, well, something good should happen here, whether it's a good pass, good shot, good footwork. They're not going to turn the ball over. Something positive is going to happen from them touching the basketball. And for you to go from like, please don't mess up, to, yo, give this guy the rock, he can probably eat right now, are two very different things. And that's probably a bigger shout out to Tom Izzo hiring Saudi Washington to really work with those bigs. And you mentioned their rebounding. That's back to Michigan State basketball. They haven't been doing that the last few years, but we're back to Michigan State basketball. But I really think I think Jaden Akins needs one of those Michigan State senior ascensions where he just kind of plays out of his mind, and he becomes that all Big Ten player that we think he can be. And Jace Richardson can also be like an honorable mention, all freshman type of guy in Big Ten play. So when it's time for the tournament to roll around, when those guys are getting minutes, when those guys are getting the ball, they're going to be used to it. And it's not going to be a shock to them playing 30, 35 minutes, and they need to eat for all 30, 35 and be the guy.
Yeah. Michigan State's schedule ends like this. Their last 6 weeks are insane. They're at USC, at UCLA, the first week of February. Then you get Oregon at home, Indiana at home, at Illinois, Purdue at home, at Michigan, at Maryland, Wisconsin at home, at Iowa, and then Michigan again. So they haven't really played that's insane. They haven't really played the most difficult schedule to date, but we'll know. We'll know if they're real. Then they're going to find out the hard way. And I'm going to go to you on this one.